partner as you become an agentic enterprise and help you harness the power of AI to deliver personalized experiences to all of your customers. So let's begin that journey. Let's begin to tell you how we do that. To share more about Adobe's vision in the era of agentic AI, I'm really excited to welcome Adobe's Chair and CEO, Shantanu Narayan. Shantanu?
Thank you, Anil. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adobe Summit. For over 40 years, Adobe's reason for being has been to enable people to tell their stories and to create whatever is in their mind's eye. More than 1 billion people have used our products over that time across every visual modality, breathing life into ideas, products, brands, marketing, campaigns, experiences, and businesses. And our evolution as a company reflects the expanding role of creativity across every industry. But what's remained constant from the origins of PostScript to our latest AI innovations is our ongoing commitment to build systems that connect, empower, and inspire. Today, as we enter a new creative era with AI, our mission, empowering everyone to create, I think is more relevant than ever. It's grounded in this belief that we have that tools don't create, people do. And it's our privilege to empower all of you to create the experiences that matter to you. In this era, we're delivering on even greater value set of our customers directly in the workflows where ideas are created, where this content is produced, where documents are executed, and even more important, where these customer experiences are both orchestrated and delivered. Think about it. Every student, business professional, and small business is looking for quick and easy AI-powered applications to help them stand out. Every creator and creative professional is looking for power and precision to easily bring their creative visions to life across any media type and surface. And marketing professionals, digital practitioners, technologists, and business owners are all looking to create, deliver, and personalize content at scale across every channel in a way that inspires loyalty, it drives lifetime value, and elevates your brand at every interaction. It's this customer-focused approach that informs every facet of our AI strategy and is the North Star, frankly, that motivates all of our employees to invent the future with every one of you. We're living at a true inflection point, a moment where creativity and marketing are being reshaped by AI, unlocking incredible new opportunities and raising the bar for speed, for personalization, as well as for scale. And for the first time, if you think about it, AI gives us this fundamental way to overcome the fear of the blank page. New surfaces like AI chatbots and agentic browsers are helping us create and consume content quicker than ever before. Conversational interfaces across these multiple media generation models that have been created further democratize creative workflows. But every channel, every device, every media type demands more creative assets, higher, faster quality, and at a greater scale than ever before. And for enterprises, these same shifts open new channels where they have to acquire and engage customers, while the new AI co-workers and agents will automate inefficient processes and deliver these successful outcomes at scale. But speed is not enough. The bar for creative differentiation and customer engagement impact has risen exponentially. And so in this crowded landscape, brands must stand out, they must connect emotionally, and build the kind of loyalty and lifetime value that will sustain their business growth. And that's why we believe at Adobe that creative control is more important than ever before. When you think about brand consistency, IP protection, connected asset management, they've moved from best practices to absolutely business-critical requirements. And so winning isn't just about producing the most content, it's actually about producing the right content on brand, at scale, and delivered in a way that feels personal and connected at every single touch point. And so it requires us to unify creativity, marketing, and AI across the entire content lifecycle, from ideation to creation to personalization, orchestration, and finally measurement. For Adobe, everything starts with the users of our products. From the earliest days of Photoshop to the groundbreaking advancements that we will unveil here, Adobe has always focused on enabling individuals to turn ideas into impact. And people want to think in stories, to work across media types, to move faster and shrink the distance between imagination and creation. We believe that creativity is the new productivity, as communications are becoming even more expressive and visual. It's why at Adobe we're investing in AI to both imagine new possibilities as well as accelerate how you get things done in the applications that you know and love, all while maintaining controlling ownership of the vision and your end goals. When you need to get something out quickly without sacrificing quality, Adobe Acrobat and Adobe Express enable you to create anywhere, collaborate seamlessly, and publish to any channel. Our new Adobe Firefly, it's an AI-first creative studio which will support your end-to-end creative process. Deep Firefly integration into our core Creative Cloud applications, including Photoshop, Illustrator, and Premiere, empower everyone, regardless of expertise, to generate this compelling content seamlessly and to activate it with confidence. And so our vision remains the same, to deliver the most comprehensive creative platform, from ideation, generation, semantic, as well as pixel-perfect precision editing, to production and delivery across every single surface. At the other end of the spectrum, AI is fundamentally transforming how businesses operate. Conversations are increasingly happening in LLM surfaces, and these new channels are opening fresh opportunities for every one of you to both acquire and engage customers. As AI agents become an additional important interface between businesses and consumers, they're also reshaping both product discovery as well as purchase and commerce behavior. So now it's not just about engaging customers. You also have to engage the agents acting on behalf of your customers and design experiences for both of them. And so this shift is putting brands under tremendous pressure to deliver more personalized content faster across every channel. And we believe that the enterprises that will win are the ones that are running their own proprietary customized enterprise models with their own data and their own content, which enables them to turn their brand knowledge into results at scale. To compete, enterprises must think about their new enterprise digital stack to be digital first as well as agent ready. And at Adobe, much like we did with inventing the digital marketing category and digital experience management, Adobe's vision for customer experience orchestration in this new agentic era is to empower enterprises to navigate this new landscape with confidence. We want to help you build on your existing infrastructure, your existing investments, but to move with speed and flexibility. And our approach is grounded in this belief that the flexibility and choice should not come at the expense of trust, governance, as well as brand integrity. And so we're advancing industry standards like content authenticity with provenance technologies, including content credentials, to help make sure that we build trust in all the digital content that's produced. Our agentic system will bring together best-of-breed AI-based solutions for the critical areas of the entire content supply chain through a new innovative GenStudio solution. It'll deliver customer engagement, as Anil mentioned, through AEP and apps. And it'll ensure brand visibility across every channel through AEM and our agentic web offerings. While AI can generate images, it can draft documents or suggest campaigns, it is actually Adobe's ability to integrate these capabilities to empower people with brand context, enterprise workflow, and governance that we think will deliver the real business outcome that you all need. Across all of these audiences, Adobe's differentiated approach to AI reflects our belief that creativity is a uniquely human trait. And we believe that AI has the power to both assist and amplify human ingenuity and enhance productivity. And so we're giving you choice and flexibility to use the best model for the job within Adobe applications without the friction of having to switch between workflows and platforms. Firefly now offers our own commercially safe models and over 30 leading partners, including Google, OpenAI, Black Forest Labs, Luma, Microsoft, and 11 Labs. And we're empowering enterprises across AI modalities, including models, agents, co-workers, conversational interfaces, all customized for your use. As AI transitions from this traditional feature-based tools to more conversational and intuitive systems, we will continue to leverage our deep domain expertise and contextual brand and engagement with Firefly Foundry and custom models that create solutions that are not just smarter and more relevant, but are aligned with the unique needs of each one of your businesses. Finally, with the growing AI adoption, there's a proliferation of technologies across models, platforms, and workflows. And we need ecosystems that are open, interoperable, built on a shared infrastructure, and designed around how work actually gets done. The customer experience orchestration category is built for multi-agent collaboration across the end-to-end content lifecycle. And we believe that that will deliver better experience for customers, as well as a better outcome for businesses. We're expanding our collaboration with leading AI platforms and infrastructure players. And we're thrilled also to partner with the global agencies and SIs to serve every industry, including financial services, healthcare, media and entertainment, and travel and hospitality. And we're committing to help you achieve AI transformation at scale, empowering the next trillion experiences. Because ultimately, we think that an open and interoperable system built around real-world workflows in service is what everybody needs. And when tools, data, and content move seamlessly, you can focus on doing your best work, which is bringing ideas to life and delivering experiences that matter. Thank you again for joining us this week. We look forward to the conversations, we look forward to the interactions and shared insights over the next few days, and working together to chart this new AI future with creativity as well as customer experience orchestration. You know, when the world talks about AI and innovation, the company that first comes to mind is Nvidia. And few figures have shaped the trajectory of modern technology as profoundly as Jensen. From founding Nvidia in 1983 with a bet on GPU computing, to igniting the deep learning revolution and becoming the architect of the AI infrastructure that's powering virtually every industry, my friend Jensen has proven that visionary persistence and relentless innovation can change the world. And I'm incredibly pleased to once again welcome Jensen on the Adobe Summit stage. Please welcome Jensen Huang.
I like the video.
I like it too.
Apparently it was made with Adobe software.
There's no question about that, Jensen. Thank you for joining us. As you can see, Jensen is in his usual uniform, which is incredible black leather jacket, and I'm in my uniform.
That's all we have.
That's all we have, that's right. But let me start, Jensen. I mean, so much has been written about what you've done. But at some level, we're both immigrants. And I remember this dinner that we had at Alexander's Steakhouse.
Wow.
I think it was like 25 years ago.
That's pretty luxurious.
Yes.
Who bought? Did you buy? I'm pretty sure you must have bought. That's a pretty luxurious restaurant.
It is, it is. But I remember you're talking about, what brought you to this country and love for computers and, then going to Oregon. So maybe just a little bit of, the genesis of your love for computing.
Science and math. It was one of those fields that you don't need too many friends for. And, if you're locked up in a bedroom, all by yourself most of your life, that's the right field. But it was always my mom and dad's, they had the American dream. They wanted to pursue the American dream. They wanted their family to grow up here, and they took the chance and brought us here, just like your parents did. And when you come as an immigrant, obviously you don't have that many friends, and English is, and English and the culture and all that. But something about science and math is universal, and you could wrap your head around it, and I always loved it. That's it. That's my story. Kind of like yours. You know that all of you know that at the core of creativity and the creative industry is where a great deal of technology were put in service of realizing storytelling. And Shantanu and I both came out of the high-performance computing industry, the computer industry, and very few CEOs in the world has computer graphics in their soul, as deeply as Shantanu. And so we share that history.
I'm asking the questions, Jensen. You're answering this time,
Once a CEO, always a CEO. You got
but
the two of us fighting to see who's in charge.
I think it was actually 8 years ago on this very stage. We had talked about some of the fundamental innovation that Nvidia was doing, ray tracing. And when I think about what you have done, you've completely reinvented the company so many times, from the core graphics to PC to scientific computing, deep learning. And now, at CES when we were talking, you also said about physical objects and innovation. So maybe just a little bit before we get into software, what excites you about what's happening with physical AI innovation and robotics?
Well, ultimately, the vast majority of the world is physical. And if we want to be able to apply computing really for the first time to some of the largest industries in the world, whether it's life sciences or logistics and manufacturing or transportation, unless the computer can understand the physical world, there is no chance of enhancing it, no chance of automating it. And we're finally at a time where if you simply realize that if you can go from language to images, images to language, why can't we go from language to chunks of actions, which is articulation? Why can't we go from, camera input to action? Vision, language, action models, just like LLMs, these are VLAs. And so we now have the ability to go directly from one sensory input to direct actioning on the computing system or the physical system. But in order to do that, you have to understand the physical world.
Amazing. So do you believe that every physical object will eventually have a digital representation? Maybe tell us a little bit about the Omniverse and how you see that evolve.
Well, the work that we're doing together is grounded in some of these areas. One, of course, accelerated computing, because everything you do has so much technology component to it. The other part is we need a high fidelity, truthful representation of many of the things that we do in life. And the reason for that is because many of the people in this room are producing products and they're marketing those products, but those products are very specific.
Yep.
That product needs to be precise. The brand identity has to be precise. The design is precise. It's not an approximate representation of the product. And so many of the things that we do needs to have a perfect digital twin. That starting point cannot be negotiable. And from that, of course, we could use generative AI to express it and maybe put it into, activate it in all kinds of different environments. You know, it's in a forest, approximate forest is fine. It's on a mountain, approximate mountain is fine. But the product has to be precise. And so we need a digital representation of that, grounded in its most precise representation, which is 3D graphics. And so the work that we do together, creating a structured, precise digital representation of the artifact. It could be a car, it could be a perfume bottle, it could be a purse, it could, whatever it is. But that starting point is really vital. From there, we can then integrate it with generative AI and express our creativity through that.
But GTC is such a massive event for you, and I was listening to your keynote where you talked a lot about how every SaaS company will have to think about what it does as an agentic service. Maybe you can just, for the technologists in this room who've built their entire businesses on software, how do you see that evolve?
There's different types of, the word software, as you guys know, is simply our ability to use structured languages to codify ideas. Some of the software is a website, some of the software, of course, is workflow. But for example, the software I use from you are tools. And these are, these are tools for imaging, tools for video, tools for text, tools for all kinds of different things, right? And so these tools now have a brand new user interface. This new user interface is called artificial intelligence, agentic systems, that allows us to now re-express how we use the tools. We used to use tools by point and click and loading files and dragging down menus. And I think my entire vocabulary of Photoshop is probably 7% of its capabilities. Now I have an agentic system that I can put in front of it, and an agentic system that Adobe could create for me that allows it to understand my intentions and fully realize the capabilities of Photoshop, fully utilize Premiere. And so the user interface of the future, all the front end of SaaS is now agentic, it's intelligent, allows us to interact directly to the tool if we like, through an agent if we like, in collaboration if we like. I think it's just a higher level utilization of tools, and in a lot of ways, I would say for 99.9% of the creators in the world, this is going to elevate your art, no question.
And we certainly believe that, Jensen, because we think it's going to amplify human ingenuity. One of the things you also talked about there was assistance and how, this is going to become the ultimate AI assistant. So, maybe, and there's
I was just going to say,
okay.
I was really happy that we negotiated a site license long before the agents came, because the number of tool use inside our company for Adobe is going to skyrocket. And so I was smart enough to negotiate a good deal.
I bought dinner, you bought my software license. I think we're equal right now. I mean, doesn't that work?
What people don't realize is that the world is limited by button seats. Now we have the support of all kinds of agents. Nvidia tool use inside a company is skyrocketing.
You were saying that when we were backstage about how you think about sort of how job creation and how people are actually going to get busier than ever before in agents. And I just thought it was a fabulous perspective. Maybe you could share that with people.
Look, one of my favorite examples is, and the study just came out. So about a decade, maybe a dozen years ago, when computer vision first became superhuman. This is when the first problem that deep learning was applied to was computer vision. Computer vision became superhuman. Very shortly after, researchers said that radiology is going to be the first profession to be wiped out by AI. And nobody should be a radiologist, because every single CT scan, every single radiology scan will be studied by AI. Well, 10 years later, it is completely true. 100% of radiology is now assisted by artificial intelligence. Computer vision is completely superhuman. And the interesting thing is, the number of radiologists, the demand went up. The reason for that is because the purpose versus the task of a job has to be separated. The task of a radiologist includes studying scans. But the purpose of the job is to work with clinicians and doctors and patients to help diagnose disease. And so the fact that these radiologists can now study scans so fast, they order more scans from more modalities. As a result, they're able to onboard patients a lot more quickly.
Yep.
The number of patients in a hospital can go up. The hospital is making more money, taking care of more patients. Radiologists, busier than ever, demand's going up. And so I think the same thing is happening as software engineers. Our company, 100% of software engineers are now supported by agents. They're busier than ever because the experimentation is coming back a lot more quickly. Every single idea expressed into code instantaneously. And so we're exploring more ideas. More software engineers are working with each other, coming up with new ideas, new problems that we never even think of solving before because we just didn't have the time to do before. And so I think most people have this wrong. I think that the fact that we're now so productive, we can experiment, iterate so fast, we're going to be busier than ever.
Well, you were talking again about, instead of creating one marketing campaign, now you're creating hundreds of marketing campaigns, and that's going to be run. But, I think our relationship also goes back to when, we would never have enough compute power. You give us as much as you would in your chips, and our graphics engineers would take advantage of it. And I think a lot of the folks here, they're all trying to deliver these new experiences as marketers or as businesses in real time. Just talk to us a little bit about this sort of computing infrastructure and where it goes, and how it allows people in this room to be able to deliver sort of those experiences at real time, do the reasoning. Just how does this all evolve?
Fundamentally, what happened was the computer industry went from a pre-recorded, retrieval-based computing model, which is, artists and computer software engineers and people who write stories. We pre-record our ideas, and then we store it, obviously, in a data center. We then retrieve it using a filter that's called a recommendation system,
Yep.
a recommender. And so that process of accessing information today pretty much defines computing. In the future, you're going to come up with a seed of an original idea, and that seed is highly controlled, highly curated, is brand perfect, is exactly the way you want to represent it. And then every single time your customers enjoy it, your content is going to be passed through a generative AI. And it's going to be then presented, described, illustrated in a way that is contextually sensible in their language, in their country, in the settings of exactly their own interest. Every single one of us will enjoy the internet completely differently. Every one of us will enjoy our brands differently because it's generated for us in real time. And so how does that happen? In order for that future to happen, we still need to have grounded first principle truth. The truth of our brands, the truth of our design, truth of our original artifact. And then it needs to run on a factory, and this factory goes creatives, operation, marketing, customer engagement. I'm not an expert in marketing, but these are kind of the phrases I think you guys use. But that's the process that I see my marketing team goes through. And by the way, Nvidia marketing is built on Nvidia, built on Adobe. And that factory in the future will include AI supercomputers, which means that's part of the reason why we're working so closely together. Adobe is going to be the marketing manufacturing system in a lot of ways, converting creative assets all the way through operations, through customer experiences and engagements, but that entire foundation will run on AI factories and AI supercomputers.
Well, I was actually going to talk a little bit about the fact that
I started out being a big customer for him. You're going to be a big customer for me.
I am already a big customer for you, trust me. I told Jensen this story, and I should probably share it with folks here. One Saturday, the head of research calls me up, and he says, I've got this incredible news. And I was like, okay, he solved some model associated with imaging or video. We've gone from diffusion models to transformer models, and we fixed it. And I said, so, have you fixed that problem? He's like, no, it's nothing to do with that. I just got another allocation of Nvidia GPUs, but you have 5 minutes, Shantanu, to approve this. And so I did say yes. But our relationship, I mean, we've worked together. In fact, when we were shipping boxes, as you remember, you got the first copy of Creative Suite 3. Let's talk a little.
It's true. I literally have the first box autographed by Shantanu. I still have it.
But let's talk about actually what we announced recently, sort of the desire to build these new frontier models to help with the omniverse and physical objects, to provide creative and marketing flows for the enterprise. I mean, how do you see that as an opportunity sitting from NVIDIA rather than from Adobe?
Well, the projects that we conceived together literally covers the entire modern pipeline of a generative, agentic, creative and marketing process. And every single company will be built, the process will be run, the software, the agents, the AI models will be running on this Adobe factory that is sitting in multiple clouds, and it's going to take us through our entire marketing campaign and creative process and marketing operations, all the way to testing, the effectiveness of these different campaigns. And we do a lot of marketing ourselves. We have a lot of customers everywhere, and we need to service customers everywhere. And so the fact that we could work with Adobe allows us to engage basically every market, in every platform. And so what we're working on starts from the creative process, 3D original design assets, the digital twins, to create customer-specific, brand-specific AI models on the Firefly Foundry, all the way to operations. It's incredible. We're literally building the modern marketing factory.
Yeah, we're excited. We're really excited, Jensen. A lot of companies are also thinking about AI transformation right now. So maybe just switching to the business side for a while. What advice would you have for people as they're all thinking about AI and transformation for the companies? How do they approach it? How do they accomplish that at scale? How should they go about it?
NVIDIA, we're completely all in on AI for obvious reasons. We believe in it. And the thing that I will tell you is that a decade ago, when I pushed the company into it, it was probably a little early. And then 9 years ago, it was a little early. And 8 years ago, it was a little earlier. And so, but every single year, the improvement was exponential. And this year, it is exactly right on time. And so I think that, you never want to be too early, but you definitely can't afford to be late. And so I prefer that we stay with it. We believe what we believe. We know that the technology is evolving. And so for everybody here, I would absolutely engage the new agentic systems that we worked on together. I would absolutely engage agentic AI as soon as you can. And I know that it's continuing to evolve, but I'm almost certain, dead certain, that your organizations are going to find it surprisingly amazing relative to what's happened last year. In fact, you and I, have spoken about this. Literally in the last several months, we went through a very significant transition from generative AI, which is able to understand what we say and produce information back to us, to now agentic AI. It can now perform work. It's now collaborating with me and collaborating with all of our engineers and supporting us in all these different ways. And so finally, for the very first time, AI is producing work. That's another way of saying AI is finally valuable. People love, AIs that know it all, but in the final analysis, what you pay for is work done, not the fact that there's an AI that knows it all. And so we're now getting real work done.
I know one thing that Jensen has really also been focused on is, given NVIDIA is now part of every single industry, whether you think about it as medicine, climate, science, national infrastructure.
I only care about media and entertainment. Advertising is the only thing I care about.
But in all seriousness,
right now.
How do you think about, responsibility? Because you've really focused a lot on that as well. And, just lessons for everybody in terms of, global responsibility that NVIDIA now has and how you think about it?
Nobody is a greater champion for open models. Nobody is a greater champion for enabling every country, every company, every industry to be able to take advantage of this revolutionary technology. I think that that's ultimately how we could be in service of the world in taking advantage of this revolutionary technology. We also tried very hard to have research at the intersection of our technology and the domain that we serve. We have a really great life sciences AI team. We have a really great robotics team. We have a really great digital twins team. Obviously, the work that we do, we do really foundational, fundamental technology in image generation and neural rendering. And so we tried very hard to do fundamental research that pioneers the technology in that space, opens the door for companies like you and I to be able to work together. And so this way, we can't ever go as deep as your domain expertise, but we could at least express our technology in such a way that we could then start working together. And so that research has led us, really, our two research teams and our two engineering teams, to really be able to deeply engage. And now, through your vision and through your deep understanding of the domain, you could shape our technology in service of your community.
I think Jensen's being far too modest when you think about both the incredible technology transformation that you've driven, Jensen, as well as the way in which you've driven. It's really inspiring, I know, to the entire community. We like to end with just a word association, so I'll ask you a word.
Nothing scares me more.
And then let's just see, what comes to mind. So, anything that comes to mind.
This is where they stop streaming.
Yeah. So I'll start. Denny's.
Pigs in a blanket.
Beaverton.
High school.
If I were to actually do it, it's Endeavor, it's Voyager, but Starbase.
Parking lots.
This is their incredible innovation that they're doing in buildings as well. Stanford.
Starbase is where you park all the starships.
Stanford.
Raising Spencer Madison with Lori, going to school on the weekends.
Notice how he responds with one word, but that's okay. Leadership.
Empowerment.
Creativity.
Shantanu.
Jensen Wang.
Busboy.
Please thank me in having, somebody who's really changed the world with us here today. Jensen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shantanu Narayan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shantanu and Jensen. Really terrific insights on the rapid pace of AI and agentic innovation and the transformative power of agentic AI. Great discussion, wasn't it? So now let's dig into how you can harness agentic AI to enhance your brands, to identify and cultivate prospects, convert them to customers, engage and delight your customers, and develop their loyalty and grow your customer lifetime value. As context, specific to customer experience and marketing, there are three major trends that are shaping the industry. First, the way consumers find information and engage with your brand is changing rapidly. LLMs and AI platforms are quickly becoming a primary interface between customers and brands. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, and others are increasingly the first stop for discovery, research, advice, and comparisons. In fact, our data shows that AI traffic to US online sites increased a staggering 269% year over year in March. From the enterprise perspective, the pace and promise of agentic AI is unprecedented. Agentic architecture gives you greater flexibility than ever before to integrate applications and democratize access to business users. AI coding tools enable you to increase the productivity of your development teams dramatically. And third, in the advertising world, digital channels are predominant, and budgets continue to shift towards more measurable, performance-based channels like social media, connected TV, and retail and commerce media networks. Enterprises are also starting to experiment with ads in LLMs and AI platforms. Businesses that capitalize on these three major trends will have a significant and enduring competitive advantage. But to do so, you'll need to surmount some real challenges. For starters, keeping your brands front and center with customers in a world where they are turning to LLMs and personal agents first. That's a challenge for many brands. Our latest survey shows that 80% of businesses have significant gaps in how their brands show up in AI platforms. We realize you're looking to understand and looking for help on how the LLMs truly work and what you can do to make your brands and products prominent in those LLMs. Second, the proliferation of channels where you need to reach customers today across your own channels, earned channels, and paid channels. Adobe's own marketing team, for example, delivers experiences with well over 50 channels. I'm sure you can relate to that. Measurement, attribution, calculating return on ad spend, they're all becoming significantly more complex as a result of channel proliferation. Third, the number of customer journeys that you need to manage is increasing rapidly. Every audience, all those channels, every one of your products and your sub-brands, they each demand your attention. And that's what makes the goal of true one-on-one personalization at scale, which you all want to do, so that you can delight every single customer, that's what makes it a huge challenge. And of course, content will be essential, and the demand for content is skyrocketing. Marketers tell us that they expect content demand to increase 5x over the next 2 years. And while generating content has become easier with AI, you have to ensure that every piece of content is impactful, on brand, and just the right content for each customer. So these challenges, when you take them, brand visibility in AI platforms, channel proliferation, the complexity of customer journeys, demand for one-on-one personalization, and the explosion of content, they come on top of what you're already dealing with. So you have to continue everything you're doing currently and simplify that, and address the challenges of customer experience orchestration in the era of AI. To do that, you need a system that's tailored to your needs, with user interfaces that combine the simplicity of conversational UIs with the power and precision of purpose-built interfaces. You need that agentic reasoning layer that orchestrates seamlessly across the agents that you build, as well as third-party agents that you get from your partners. You need intelligence that turns the raw output of generative AI models into content and actions that are consistent with your business goals and your brand. And all of that has to operate in the specific context of your enterprise, based on data that you have and making sure that there's data governance and ensuring that there's no hallucination. What you need is an end-to-end agentic AI-powered system that puts it all together for you so that you can deliver and optimize personalized experiences to every customer through any channel at the right moment in the customer lifecycle. And that is exactly what we are delivering. Today, I'm excited to announce our solution to power customer experience orchestration in the era of AI, Adobe CX Enterprise. Adobe CX Enterprise is an end-to-end agentic AI system that will simplify how you manage the entire customer lifecycle, from identifying prospects to driving conversion to developing lasting loyalty. It's built on our domain expertise in data, content, and journeys, and orchestrates apps and agents to deliver personalized experiences at scale. So let's unpack Adobe CX Enterprise, which addresses three critical use cases. First, brand visibility. As we talked about, every enterprise needs to address a dual challenge today. You have to ensure that your brands are visible, accurate, and trusted across the new AI platforms while deepening direct engagement on your own properties. Your brands and products need to stand out with content optimized for visitors and for agents, whether they are LLM agents or your customers' personal Nemo Claw agents. And you need to optimize for search as well as for discovery on the new consumer AI platforms. So how do you do that? The best way to do that is to double down on your own web properties and make sure that they are ready for the agentic web. So we provide the most comprehensive solution for brand visibility by bringing together Adobe Experience Manager, which powers your websites, and our apps for the agentic web, including Adobe LLM Optimizer, Adobe Brand Concierge, and AEM Sites Optimizer, along with our pending acquisition of SEMrush, which is a leader in search engine optimization and generative engine optimization. Second use case is customer engagement. Now, we provide a comprehensive solution for the entire customer engagement lifecycle built natively on top of the Adobe Experience Platform. Acting in concert, Adobe Real-Time CDP, Customer Journey Analytics, and Adobe Journey Optimizer, they bring together all of your customer data sources in a composable manner to deliver comprehensive real-time insights and orchestrate connected, personalized experiences across channels. And third, the content supply chain. Enterprises are facing increasing pressure to deliver more campaigns at unprecedented speed and scale. And that's pushing teams to transform your content supply chain so that you can reshape the process of planning, creating, managing, activating, and measuring content. Adobe GenStudio is our end-to-end content supply chain solution, powered by agentic AI to ideate, create, govern, and optimize content experiences at scale. GenStudio enables creative and marketing teams to produce on-brand personalized content across the ever-expanding mix of channels. Our latest GenStudio innovations, which you'll hear about soon, across workflow and planning, creation and production, asset management, delivery and activation, and reporting and insights, enable you to realize the benefits of agentic AI across the entire content supply chain. So those are the three use cases. And today, I'm excited to announce Adobe CX Analytics across all of them. CX Analytics is a comprehensive analytics system that produces timely insights across web, mobile, customer journeys, content, conversations, and LLMs. It's built on our leading Adobe Analytics and Customer Journey Analytics capabilities and provides an easy-to-use conversational interface that enables the democratization of analytics and insights across your entire organization. All of our solutions are powered by the Adobe AI platform, which we introduced at Summit last year, and where we're continuing to innovate at a rapid pace. So let's start with the agentic layer. First, I'm excited to introduce CX Enterprise Coworker, a specialized AI agent designed to execute tasks for you based on defined business goals. CX Enterprise Coworker enables your teams to dramatically increase their productivity while ensuring that you maintain full choice and control. CX Enterprise Coworker activates insights across our apps, helping your users where they do their work today. And it's open and flexible, architected on standards including MCP, Model Context Protocol, and agent-to-agent. And it can coordinate work across multiple agents by translating your business objectives into multi-step actions. For example, if your marketing team wants to increase cross-sell performance, CX Enterprise Coworker can help bring together the right agents and tools across the organization to assemble what you need for a targeted offer, like audience segments, creative assets, and performance insights. CX Enterprise Coworker can then create a plan, and once the plan is approved by your marketers, it helps execute the plan and monitors results against the goal. And then building out the agentic layer, Adobe CX Enterprise makes our entire portfolio of capabilities available through agents, skills, tools, and MCPs. Adobe agents streamline time-intensive tasks and help you deliver your customer experience objectives. They are natively integrated into our products and can be managed through AEP Agent Orchestrator, as well as any major third-party agent orchestration system. Our Adobe Marketing Agent, integrated with Microsoft Copilot, is a great example of how we are meeting our users where they are and making our capabilities easily accessible through partner AI platforms. With Adobe CX Enterprise, we are introducing two agentic systems of intelligence. First, Adobe Brand Intelligence, which brings a dynamic insights layer that's accessible by AI agents and helps ensure that every piece of content that you produce is on brand. It has a continuous learning engine for teams to rapidly create content for experiences, and the content remains true to your brand identity. It'll help you move beyond static artifacts like brand guidelines, briefs, and approved assets into a system that learns constantly from qualitative and nuanced inputs, such as feedback from your review cycle, annotations, rejections, and approvals. Second, Adobe Engagement Intelligence, which is a decisioning engine optimized for customer lifetime value to drive personalization at scale. This decisioning engine enables goal-based continuous optimization based on comprehensive measurement and analytics. Adobe CX Enterprise is underpinned by our global real-time Adobe Experience Platform. And AEP provides the contextual layer that enables CX Enterprise Coworker and all the agents that we have to reason based on governed data, operate within defined business objectives, and take actions that are durable and auditable. So we've covered a lot of new innovation around agentic AI. Let's see Adobe CX Enterprise in action. For that, I'll turn it over to Amy James and Gina Casagrande. Amy and Gina, take it away.
Thank you, Anil. Today, we're going to show you Adobe CX Enterprise, an all-new agentic system helping marketing teams optimize their brand visibility, their content supply chain, and customer engagements. But first, I'd like to thank Marriott Bonvoy for allowing us to use their brand to really bring this vision demo to life. And while the workflows and data is fictitious, the need for speed these days definitely isn't. Now, I'm going to give myself a little promotion today. I'm now the VP of Marketing at Marriott Bonvoy. with a great view in a corner office. On my way to work, I ask my CX enterprise for my daily briefing, and it tells me that there's an acquisition and engagement opportunity coming from the south of France. Now, that sounds really important, so I'm going to bookmark that so I can come back to that later. Now that I'm at my desk, CX Enterprise greets me with a conversational interface, one that knows who I am, what's important to me, and here's my bookmark that I added earlier. Now, I'm going to explore this a little bit more because I'm wondering, how big is this opportunity and is it going to last? But here's what I love. Because Adobe CX Enterprise Coworker is grounded in Adobe's domain expertise and Marriott's business context, it goes to work, understanding my business goals, my team priorities, and the urgency of this task. Now, I can clearly see here that we're getting a lot of referral traffic from LLMs in EMEA. And with CX Analytics Always On Agent, it automatically pulls in signals from on and off-site channels, so we can start to recommend and forecast incremental revenue and surface trade-offs around resources, budget, and timing. Now, that's how it knows that unlike past trends, this time I have the bandwidth and the budget to execute a wider strategy here. And before I've even had a time to think about what I want to do next, it's recommending that I reach out to my regional marketing manager, Gina, routing work to the right person in the right surface at the right moment. So yes, I will get her to action that and take a look at it. Adobe CX Enterprise doesn't just automate work. It intelligently orchestrates it across people, agents, and tools.
In my CX Enterprise home, I see Amy's flagged this for me. An urgent work request, my favorite form of cardio. Luckily, I have the Adobe CX Enterprise Coworker to help accelerate the work. It brings together all of these out-of-the-box Adobe agents alongside Marriott's custom agents. I set the guardrails for what it can do, all within the enterprise-grade permissions, policy, and governance. So even though there's more work to do, I'm not sweating it. As I dig into this, I also want to understand why our conversion rate is so low. Now, the CX Enterprise Coworker pulls in the Proactive Insights agent to surface this insights and automates a root cause analysis. It's found that there's a spike in organic traffic, but it's not leading to more bookings. And it's tied it and connected to the dots to a TV series that's filming in the region that's trending on social. So here we can see all of these great insights. It's got people dreaming of going to the Riviera, great for us, except they're bouncing. Not only does CX Enterprise Coworker tell us what's happening, but it tells us what to do about it. In this case, quick fix, we need to optimize that landing page and improve the bounce rate. But there's also a bigger opportunity here where we can drive an acquisition campaign and capitalize on this social trend. So let's start with the optimizing the landing page. And agents get to work quickly applying fixes to the Southern France page. Let's take a look. So here we can see the before, and this is the after. This page has been optimized using site assets existing in our DAM that are more relevant to the Riviera dreamers. More asset reuse means less wasted budget. Maybe Amy should be giving me a promotion too. So I like the images, but the headlines, I want to see a couple more options. I'll ask to suggest headlines with a film and luxury theme. And I like this one. No spoilers, just luxury in the Riviera. And it's been updated on the page, looks great. Let's go ahead and we'll publish. Now, before the page goes live, an autonomous pre-flight check validates accessibility, generative and SEO guidelines, and more. I know it would flag anything to me before it sets the page live if there was an issue. And just like that, we've optimized for brand visibility, ensuring the landing page is optimized and discoverable by agents, but more relevant to humans as well. Next up, let's plan the acquisition campaign. Now, the great news is I don't start from a blank canvas. The CX Enterprise Coworker pulls in the Marriott-specific KPIs, insights, audiences, and data from across the system so we're not starting from scratch. I'm going to go ahead and invite my team so we can ideate and collaborate in this canvas. And when we're ready, we're going to bring it together into a digital strategic brief. And I'll go ahead and publish this to the system, and the agents get to work right away creating the projects and the tasks and assigning resources based on availability. With Adobe Gen Studio, the metadata is going to flow all the way from that campaign planning to activating this campaign. I love it. Yes, that's right. And so I see, let's kick this off. Work kicks off across multiple tracks instantly. And we can see that audiences are being built behind the scenes. Now, the CX Enterprise Coworker notifies me in certain key moments and keeps me in the loop. In this case, it's found a new audience, and it's based on the Marriott Service Agent, which I wouldn't have thought to look at. Call center, chat interactions, and semantic data is driving a new, fast-growing segment that has just hit our profile threshold. It's almost as if it's telling me, hey, Gina, don't forget about these guys. I love that. That is the power of this agentic system. The opportunities find me. Now, the design team has gone ahead and created all of those hero assets, and they're approved. Now, the Firefly Creative Production Agent has generated these multi-channel variants. And I know that before they even hit this screen, they've gone through brand validation with Adobe Brand Intelligence. And just like that, they're going to be added to this journey. Let's take a look. So here we can see our outbound journey. And the Adobe Engagement Intelligence checks for audience overlap, journey priority, and even optimizes the timing, channel, and decisioning for true one-to-one personalization. I'll go ahead and simulate this for predicted performance to ensure it hits our benchmarks, and everything is great. We see the content in there looking good. So I'll go ahead and publish this, and I've literally just gone from a signal to a fully orchestrated campaign. That's the power of Adobe CX Enterprise, helping me and my team optimize for brand visibility, streamline the content supply chain, and personalize customer engagement. Amy, what do you think about the campaign? Oh, and about my promotion.
Funny you say that, but whoa, I am getting a lot of alerts here, Gina, telling me how well the campaign is performing. Whatever you did, you sure made Marriott the place to stay in the Riviera. Can we jump on a call with the team and discuss? Because Adobe CX Enterprise skills extend into the Microsoft ecosystem, I can use Copilot Cowork to access campaign performance directly within Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to ask, show me how the Riviera campaign is performing by revenue per audience and channel. Here we go. And there we go. I have the latest insights directly within the collaboration tools that we use. Now, it's also asking if I'd like to generate a PDF report, and I do actually, and I'd like to organize a recurring meeting with my ops team and send this report as a pre-read one day in advance, every Tuesday, automatically. And behind the scenes, CX Enterprise Coworker works with Microsoft Work IQ to understand who's on my team, what needs to go into the report, and how to format it based on my brand guidelines. That's amazing. I mean, this used to be a really complex and manual task, and I just accomplished that in one single prompt. This is how we're bringing the power of CX Enterprise to users wherever they work. So what you just saw was Adobe CX Enterprise, a purpose-built agentic system that brings together human intelligence and AI to surface new opportunities and deliver greater impact across every experience. This is customer experience orchestration in the era of agentic AI.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Amy and Gina. That was a terrific end-to-end look at Adobe CX Enterprise. And thank you to Marriott for their partnership and permitting us to use their brand for the demo. Now, you saw an example of the work we've done to build native AI platform integrations, in this case, with Microsoft Copilot Cowork. We have similar native integrations with all the major enterprise AI platforms. You can access Adobe's agentic capabilities directly from Cloud, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and Microsoft Copilot, with a composable platform that makes it straightforward to bring Adobe CX Enterprise functionality directly into the tools used daily by your marketing and creative teams. And with Nvidia, we're bringing CX Enterprise Coworker capabilities into the NemoClaw Enterprise Agent platform, enabling brands to deploy Adobe's customer experience intelligence within Nvidia's secure, policy-governed OpenShell runtime. So you get the best of both worlds, the rapid innovation of these AI platforms and the rock-solid, proven capabilities of Adobe CX Enterprise. I am sure that many of you will make Adobe CX Enterprise your super app for customer experience orchestration. So let's build on that with the demo that you just saw with Copilot Cowork, and hear from Microsoft's Charles Lamana, Executive Vice President of Agents and Business Apps.
I'm excited for the Microsoft and Adobe partnership because you have two companies which have really defined the core applications that you use on a PC and for desktop computing. We're seeing the same kind of thing happen right now. We're making it so that AI systems are more accessible to more people, so it's easier to get access to your data and easier to take actions. We've recently announced Copilot Cowork, which helps our users go from just getting answers from AI, but start to take actions. We use this thing called Work IQ, which looks at all of your office and workplace information to create insights. It joins that together so you can start to use AI to complete whole workflows and whole arcs of activities without having to switch out to different systems over time. One of the biggest things that I hear from users is that they hate going to lots of different systems to get their job done. The new Adobe Marketing Agent shows up with Microsoft Copilot, so you can get the power of both the Adobe AI systems and the Microsoft AI systems. The Adobe Marketing Agent pulls together all the important information you need, things like your cohorts or your audiences or the journeys that you're working on, and exposes them right inside of Microsoft 365 Copilot. So by working together with Adobe and having the Adobe CX agentic skills, it can start to understand and speak your data and your marketing campaigns and your marketing orchestrations. And as you think about what you can start to do as you bring together these systems from Microsoft and Adobe, we really can get to that future vision of a personal AI assistant that has the ability to quickly load skills and interact with the right data that you need to get the job done. One place, one AI brain, helping you be more efficient.
Thank you, Charles and Microsoft. We appreciate the continued partnership and look forward to rapid innovation. In addition to the AI platforms, our product teams and forward-deployed engineers work closely with a broad ecosystem of partners, agencies, system integrators, software industry leaders, to ensure that Adobe CX Enterprise is perfectly tailored to your needs. Global agencies are expanding the value of Adobe CX Enterprise with their own industry expertise and their creative, media, production, and data capabilities. Leading system integrators are leveraging our agentic capabilities to deliver bespoke solutions for key industry verticals, enabling you to modernize your technology stack and accelerate time to value and efficiency. So we have covered how Adobe CX Enterprise powers customer experience orchestration in the era of AI. So now let's take a look at the role of GenStudio as the comprehensive solution for content supply chain. To share more about GenStudio, I'm excited to welcome David Wadhwani, President of Adobe's Creativity and Productivity business. David?
Thanks, Nil. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Come on, this is like the 7th inning stretch or something. All right. I'm David Wadhwani. I run the creativity and business and productivity businesses at Adobe, as Anil talked about. Now, I spend a lot of my time thinking about how we communicate and how we tell great stories. And that happens through great content. But what makes content great? What makes it stand out? How do you create it at scale? And how do you do all of these things while maintaining brand integrity? Now, one of the coolest things about my job is that I have the opportunity to spend time with the most creative people in the world. I still remember when Eric Johansson shared how he uses Photoshop to create fantastical ideas that only he sees in his head. Or when Billie Eilish and Takashi Murakami shared how they collaborate to mix her music with his art. And when Oscar winner Rob Legato walked us through his approach to developing and the launch sequence in Apollo 13, and how he merged eyewitness accounts with actual footage from the launch, because footage alone didn't capture the humanity of the moment. Like, someone's technically flawed, but incredibly rich memory did. Now, after every one of these conversations, and conversations with thousands of creators over the years, what strikes me is the power of great creative work and how it elevates your brand and your relationships. Like when Coca-Cola taught the world to sing in the 1970s. Or more recently, how IBM used Firefly to light up the Vegas sphere. Some IBM folks back there. It was one of the first large campaigns ever built with AI. Or how Monster Energy communicated their brand vision by combining popular culture and the meteoric rise of Lando Norris with the gorgeous visuals that grab your attention. Your campaigns have the power to shape society and inspire people. And your content and the content you produce fuels your marketing and your relationship with your customers. And from my vantage, high-octane content has a few common characteristics that we should all pay a lot of attention to. First, it has to stand out. In today's world, where AI slop is on the rise and every channel is flooded with a sea of sameness, you need to stand out creatively. Second, it has to stay fresh. We know from our own campaigns that content grows stale and ROI deteriorates after only a few weeks. Third, it needs to be personalized. 90% of marketers say that personalized content improves lead generation and conversion in a significant way, but personalization requires creativity at scale. And finally, underpinning all of this is your brand. You need to maintain your brand identity as you scale your content production. So let's talk about this, how all of this comes together. Now, what Anil walked us through was that broad sense of CX enterprise and the three pillars that comprise it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to double-click on the content supply chain to give you a sense of how AI, both the media changes with AI and the models coming out of media models, and agents are going to reshape how we all work in the months and years ahead. Now, as I share this vision, I'm speaking to you from two distinct perspectives. The first is, as I mentioned, my team and I build the tools that your teams use to make the content you deliver. But secondly, and more relevant for today, I run a large global business that includes a significant direct-to-consumer digital channel and a large enterprise channel doing B2B. So that makes me one of the most demanding Adobe customers on the planet. We simply could not run our business without CX Enterprise. All right, so let's jump in. Adobe Gen Studio. This is our solution that drives your content supply chain, from workflow and planning to creation and production to delivery and activation to reporting and insights. And today, we're going to focus on the creation and production pillar of that. You actually heard Shantanu and Jensen talk about how AI and agentic is going to change everything about how we create content. So we're going to give you a set of products that let you stand out with the content you build, with the velocity that's going to keep it fresh, with the capacity to do personalization at scale without compromising your brand identity. Now, of course, the workhorse of content creation continues to be Adobe's Creative Cloud. All the tools your creative professionals know and love: Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere, After Effects, InDesign, just to name a few. We've also added Adobe Firefly, our new AI creation production studio that is rapidly gaining traction in enterprises and agencies for concepting. Firefly gives creators access to image, video, design, 3D and audio models from Adobe, Google, OpenAI, Flux, Runway, and all the major leading model providers in the world. We also launched 2 years ago Firefly Enterprise, and it's made up of two critical scale capabilities. First is Firefly Foundry, that gives you customized models that generate content that are deeply tuned to your brand and your brand guidelines. And second is Firefly Creative Production, that lets you generate and assemble content variations for multiple languages, for audience segments, and distribution. This can literally generate thousands of on-brand content and assets in minutes instead of months. And last, but certainly not least, is Frame.io, our digital asset management solution for work-in-progress content. It's where you store, manage, and review the assets you create in Creative Cloud, Firefly, and Firefly Enterprise, or any of our other applications like Adobe Express. So when a brand like Home Depot needs to create thousands of assets for a campaign quickly, their team can leverage branded models to explore concepts in Firefly, create designs in Photoshop, scale with Firefly Enterprise, and manage it all in Frame. And you can learn more. Home Depot has a booth and an exhibit in the community pavilion. Encourage you guys to stop by and see how they're using this entire content supply chain in Gen Studio to do exactly what I'm talking about. Now, until today, developing content production workflows has meant streamlining how creative professionals and marketers collaborate. But today, all that's about to change as we introduce agents into these workflows. And with that, I'm thrilled to announce Adobe Creative Agent. The Adobe Creative Agent is built on decades of experience, just like Shantanu and Jensen talked about in their section. And it gives you all the information and understanding over these decades about how creative and marketing teams actually work. Your team sets the vision and makes all the judgment calls. They do the things only people can do. The creative agent orchestrates across all the models, the tools, the apps, the production processes that bring your vision to life. It's human-led and agent-accelerated. The second thing I couldn't be more excited to announce today is Adobe Brand Intelligence. Brand Intelligence is a living, breathing system. It's constantly seeing what you and your teams are doing, and it learns from it in real time as all of you work. What do you approve? What do you reject? What feedback do you give? What annotations do you leave on content? Every agent in your workflow is now dependent on brand intelligence to do three things. One, when they're creating something, how do they instruct to assemble content at scale? Two, when they're validating the content you're creating, whether an agent created it or whether a human created it, every asset that you create has to be validated on brand and compliant. And third, predict. How do you take content that you're creating and forecast how it's going to actually work when it's in the live, reaching the audience segments that you're trying to reach? So this is the foundation of Gen Studio creation and production. Firefly for concept development, Creative Cloud for content creation, Firefly Enterprise for brand content, on-brand content generation and scale production, Frame.io as a work-in-progress asset management system managing all of that content, Adobe Creative Agents to accelerate your work, and brand intelligence to help you keep your creative systems and teams and marketing teams and agents all on brand as you work. So we're going to show you all this in end-to-end system at work. So please welcome Ann Rich, who's going to play the role of a marketer today, and Ben Vandenberg, who's going to play a creative director. And they're going to actually create a campaign for you end-to-end in 10 minutes, if it was just that easy. But it's going to give you a whole end-to-end system of how this works. We're going to start with a brief. They're then going to take that brief, and they're going to convert it to creative concepts, before then turning those creative concepts into actual hero designs. And then they're going to collaboratively review and revise that. And then those finalized, approved hero assets are going to get scaled for personalized audience segmentation. All end-to-end gives you that sense of how it all comes together. So let's start with Ann. And remember, what we saw Gina do earlier was actually create a strategy brief. Ann's going to start with that and now convert that strategy brief into a creative brief so that we can kick off the creation and production process. Ann?
Great, thanks, David. So as a marketing lead at Adobe, I just finished the Do That, You Can Do That with Acrobat campaign, and I need to turn that into a creative direction fast. Luckily, with Adobe Gen Studio, I just put in my prompt to take the strategy brief with new audiences, define a creative brief, pull in the right assets, and package for the creative team. I just need to link my strategy brief here and go. And you can see a plan being pulled together, and this is going to be a full execution plan. You can see building the creative brief, sourcing and generating the assets, creating an ideation board, and packaging and sending to the team. Now, of course, I could make changes, but I'm just going to get started. Let's go. And here we go. So you can see the creative agents working to build the brief, and the Adobe Brand Intelligence validation working behind the scenes. And just like that, I have a full artifact ready to go. It has audiences, it has channels, opportunity, Everything is here I need. This looks fantastic. But we only have 2 audiences, and I know that we had more. So let me just ask to add additional audiences. And here we go. And what is working behind the scenes is Adobe Brand Intelligence Predict Engagement, which is telling me not just what audiences to add, but why this creative brief will resonate with them. This first one looks like a great extension. I'm going to add that. And here we go, adding into my creative brief artifact. There we go. I have a full creative brief ready to go.
That's a huge difference. And frankly, our teams at Adobe have already been doing this, taking the strategy briefs that are created, using the creative agent to convert them to a creative brief. And they started doing this recently, and I actually triple-checked this answer with them. A typical creative brief would take them 3 weeks to write. They now generate it in 7 minutes. It takes about 7 minutes to generate with all the information we put in. And they do the finishing touches for about 30 minutes. And it's made a huge difference in terms of the velocity with which we're actually able to kick off campaigns and run it. Now let's talk about, once we have that brief, where do we go from there?
Great. So that's a creative brief, but I needed a full creative direction. And for that, I need creative. So I'm going to start sourcing assets. And this is pulling from all of my prior campaigns using Frame.io and Adobe Experience Manager, pulling in all of those assets. And these look great. But I want something fresh. So I'm going to generate more images and add video. And brand intelligence validation and predict engagement are working behind the scenes to tell me these are not just on brand, but on campaign and a good fit with my audience, and they will resonate. These are looking great. I'm going to infuse my brief with this creative. So now I have a creative brief with the creative added, but I can't stop there. I am going to take this into ideation by creating a creative concept board using Adobe Firefly boards. And now collaborating is as easy as sending this to the creative team and to my creative director, Ben.
All right, so Anne, just to recap, use the creative agent to generate and develop a creative brief. She then asked the creative agent to take that brief and find assets that were used and created previously that could be relevant to this new campaign. She then asked it to generate more on-brand concepts that they could use, packaged it up as a Firefly board, and handed it off to the creative team. So now let's move to the concepting phase. Anne has already packaged this up as a set of concepts, so Ben can then pick this up directly in Firefly boards and then finish the concepting phase before moving on to design.
Thanks, David. So here I am at Firefly boards, and I can see all the different assets that Anne provided, including images and videos that I can use to help inspire our campaign here. Now, Firefly boards is an infinite canvas that allows my team to be able to collaborate in real time and create concepts. Now, I'm working on a concept here that's a travel theme, and I really like this image that Anne provided, so I'm just going to take this and bring it down here, and I'm going to riff on that. So I can take this, I'm going to create some more like this, and while that is loading, let's have a look at some of the images that we have over here. So the one on the left was the original image and some of the different variations that were created here. This is really helpful for me as a creative because it gives me ideas and inspires me to go in different directions. So scrolling out here, we can look at some of the different images that were created here, different people, different poses, just giving me some variety. All right, now let's move on to this other image that we have here. I love this image in this European city with the legend as my book, but I want to change the text to be something a little bit more travel-based, and I can do that with Firefly. What we'll see here is that it's just going to allow me to be able to select the text here, and I'm going to put in voyage and generate. And Firefly is going to understand the context of the rest of the image and blend both the text and the image together. Now, normally, this is something that I would do in Photoshop, and I would have to have some advanced skills to understand how to blend that, know what the font is, and to be honest, I just want to easily create this so that I can see if this is a creative direction that I want to go. But we'll see in a quick moment here. There we go, blends those things together, and it looks amazing, doesn't it? All right, moving on. So now if I have a look, what I want to do is I want to blend this image with this image here because I love the tones of that, and I have a variety of different models available for me to help. So I have Firefly, I have partner models like Nano Banana, and I also have custom models that can be trained on my own brand assets to be able to help me. Now, just for the sake of time, I generated a number of variations for me already. See how it blended that tone into there? It looks kind of nice. And I can also generate a number of different videos. So I can create some nice animation, and I can use Firefly Video, VO, Kling, and many other models. And once I'm ready, I can take those models and I can turn them into mockups. And I can open those up in Photoshop, Illustrator, or in this case, I'm just going to select all of these, and I'm going to say send to Frame.io so my designers can finalize those assets.
Great. So now Ben has taken the concepts that Ann created as the marketer, he's refined them as the creative professional, he's pushed them all into Frame, and now it's all available directly in creative tools like Photoshop. So with that, let's now move to the next phase of the process around designing and creating hero assets. And for that, let's start by moving in, staying with the creative professional, but moving from Firefly and Firefly boards for concepting into our flagship applications like Photoshop for creation.
Right. So I am in Frame.io here, which is my work in progress DAM, and I can see all my different assets that were pushed into here from Firefly boards. I can take my asset here, open it up right on my computer here. Now, I know this is a marketing conference, but how many designers do we have in the audience? All right, all right. Well, I got some great things for you, because when you take your artboards from Firefly boards and bring them into Photoshop, it also retains the layers, which is great for editing. Along with that, inside of Photoshop, I have all of my great Firefly features to help me. For example, I have this cup that I have here that I want to add into the image here. I can just simply, with one click, remove the background. I can resize it to where I want to put it here. Well, that still isn't quite blended into the image, and it isn't the right angle, but that's okay, because I have the new rotate object available in Photoshop Beta that can help me with that. And what that will do is that will take my object and turn it into a 3D object that allows me to be able to just move it around like this. Now, this was a flat image. Just look at it. I'm able to take it, put it in a different angle. Let's bring it down like this. Just a little bit more there. All right, and click done. And this is going to render a high-resolution image of my coffee cup. But I'm not done, because what I really love is be able to take this and add the shadows and the colors and the tones and almost make it all harmonize. And that's exactly what we called the feature, harmonize, which allows us to be able to blend that together. Now, I rendered this before. Everybody want to see the result? All right, let's have a look. There we go. Blends it right into the image. That's simple and easy. And that is amazing. And once I save that, it will save automatically right back into Frame.io. Now, I am not a perfect designer. In fact, I make mistakes, but that's okay. Because inside of Frame.io, what we're going to see is as my asset is coming into here, it analyzes that, and brand intelligence will tell me all the different items that don't comply with my brand guidelines to help me make my updates. Now, as I look at this, I need to change the font, the punctuation. I could take this in Photoshop and make those updates, but instead, what I can do is I can go in here and I'm going to ask my creative agent to read all the comments in here and make the changes for me. Give it a quick moment here, and there we go. It updated the text, updated the punctuation. Just look at this. This saves me so much time with my revisions.
Amazing. So Ben developed the hero assets. Did you guys like those amazing AI magic in Photoshop? It's rotate object in Photoshop and Illustrator has really changed the game. Now, when he was done, he was able to put it back into Frame.io. I think you got scolded by the creative agent and the brand intelligence for not doing everything quite right. But then you, instead of going back and having to do all that work again, given the type of work, you just ask the creative agent to fix the problems for you.
That's right.
Now, let's move from there. We've got the hero assets in place. Now we have to go in and go through the process of review and revision and that phase of the journey. Because they're in Frame, Anne can now review them and seamlessly send her comments back to Ben. Anne?
Great. So here in Frame.io, I have a curated view that gives my creative team and I a super simple way to collaborate. I can see everything here. They're all looking really good, but this one with the white background, I'm not sure about. So I think we should change it to red. So let me just leave a note for Ben. Love this, but make the background red. And then this is actually not the right tagline. So let me just give this little circle and let Ben know to change to do that with Acrobat. And then I love the picture that Ben created, but I'd love a sunset vibe. So let's just make it warmer like a sunset. And then this text, I think, could be shorter. So let's shorten it to create a presentation. And with Frame.io, the comments aren't instantaneous. So Ben already has these.
You know, Anne, I love getting feedback, and I have to agree with a lot of the comments on this. We should put the background to be red. We should change the tagline. I love the idea with the image, but I don't agree with the text here because legal already approved this text. So again, I can go into Photoshop and make these changes, but I'm just going to go in here and once again ask my creative agent to read all the comments and make the changes except that one comment that Anne made about the prompt text. Give that a quick moment. It's going to analyze those different comments, work for a little bit, and we'll see in a quick moment here. There we go. And we can see all of that. We can see it changed the image, the background, all those different changes. I can just feel the amount of time that I'm saving on a daily basis.
Awesome. So Anne commented Stephen Frieder, our head of sales, is very excited about this. Anne commented on the hero assets. Ben, being a creative professional, got a little defensive. He didn't like all of them, but he told the creative agent to make the changes that he needed and wanted to be made, and again, saved a ton of time. So now that we have the assets ready and the hero assets done, we talked about this. You then need to be able to scale these assets and reach thousands of people or many, many segments and be able to do it quickly and on brand. So with that, let's talk about how the creative agent can help with that.
All right, so if I go back here, all these assets are looking good, and I want to now localize these for different regions. And I, once again, can just go right in here into my creative agent, and in this case, I'm going to ask it to take the selected files, localize them into the correct languages based on my brand guidelines. And when I submit that, that is going to use Firefly Creative Production to find the right workflow, to localize those into different languages, and then it's also going to take that and use brand intelligence to find which languages it's supposed to translate into, and then take those and bring those automatically back into Frame.io. So if we look in the localized folder here, we can see it's already processing the different variations in here. Now, this takes a little bit of time, so I'm going to have a look here and look at that. All the different variations that were created. This truly is content at scale.
Great. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Anne. Appreciate all the work on this. So what we wanted to do was give you a glimpse into the future in a very focused way across the end-to-end content supply chain and creative production. You saw a marketer, a creative professional, and a creative agent all working together, human-led and agent-accelerated, all the way from the brief to the creative concept, to the hero designs, to the review and revision, and ultimately to the content personalization at scale. And this isn't just a magical demo on stage. They weren't just kind of showing you old videos that we had created. We are doing this at Adobe, and the very first campaign that was built this way has already gone live. So we're very excited about the potential of what this means and where we go from here. Now, one of the companies that's been on this journey with us for many years, especially the last few years, is NBCU. And I'd love for you to hear from them. So please welcome Ashish Desai, NBCU's Executive Vice President of AI and Enterprise Innovation. Ashish?
Welcome to the beginning.
This is big time.
Incredible.
This is where you need to be.
Come with me. Why couldn't possibly? This is your moment. I'm coming.
Here we go.
That was awesome.
Worldwide phenomenon.
Golden Golden once again.
Touchdown.
Cue the fireworks.
Holla! You want to change how your patients see the world.
I want to change how the world sees my patients.
Get out there and heal some people. Come on.
Where the hell am I?
Maybe we should make it quick.
Just a dash of America.
Oh. Where's your integrity?
I've nothing to hide.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Let's move. Not again.
I'm here.
I'm in life.
No, God, please, no.
This gets weirder and weirder.
Your face. Oh, my God.
What we are most proud of is our connection to you.
Period.
I've got to give you one of these. Standout moment of his life.
You can do anything. I know.
All right, David.
Thanks for joining us, Ashish.
Of course.
So now, NBCU, as many of you know, is a very large and complicated company. You have decades of licensed IP rights, you have talent agreements, you have content rights that you have to adhere to, you have live content, you have archival content. The shape of what you guys do is absolutely amazing at the scale of what you do it. How does all of this complexity and just the number of things you have to do shape how you are approaching AI as you're leading this for the company?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you, David, for having me here today. You know, as you can see from the sizzle, NBCU is a really large, multifaceted company, spanning everything from motion picture films to producing the largest sporting events in the world. Most recently in February, legendary February, the Olympics and the Super Bowl. We power large-scale consumer platforms like the streaming platform Peacock, and of course, launch and operate parks and attractions all over the globe through our Universal Destinations and Experiences division. Most recently launching Epic Universe in Orlando. If you haven't checked it out, please do. It's an amazing experience. And so every single day we're connecting content and experiences to consumers across the globe. And the thing that underpins that entire strategy and underpins the whole company is creativity. It's the lifeblood of our company, it's our heritage, it's our expertise, it's our differentiator. And so you can imagine as we're thinking about AI in a company like ours, the prospects were both really exciting and really complex to navigate. We've always been a company that leans into technology to advance our storytelling, to enhance our experiences and content. And we're also a company that never compromises on our IP, our values, and the trust and respect of our creators and partners. And that's why Adobe was such an important early strategic partner of ours. One, no greater showcase than today of how much Adobe's invested in the creative community, which is very important to us as well. And the Firefly model being commercially safe. No scraped content, only licensed IP and public domain content. That's a huge differentiator for a company like ours. And so it allowed us to have a safe place to first experiment with AI across creative workflows and then ultimately scale it across the entire enterprise of NBC Universal.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think from the very beginning we were very focused on was, yes, of course, we, as many companies, need to start with individual pilots in different pockets. But I think you and the team were very focused on making sure that the word you keep using is raise the floor for the whole company with AI. You now have over 2,000 creatives using Firefly in real production workflows, from promos to on-air graphics to campaign assets. Tell us a little bit about what it took to get here, how we had to work together, and what has changed because of it.
Yeah, so one of our core goals when it comes to AI across NBCU is to build an AI-ready organization. That's a really large challenge in broad enterprises. And we're doing that through focused enablement programs. That includes access to tools and technologies, education curriculum, and focused work streams that evolve ways of working across the various functions of NBCU. And across the creative workflows, particularly in marketing, Firefly was the foundation for that strategy. Along with our marketing executives who have really leaned in to this journey, we thought it was important to be opinionated about the platform and the technology, but not prescriptive about the way it was being used. We have incredibly talented professionals who are creatives by nature. We didn't want to prescribe how they were using it, so it was important we provided broad access and then had them come back applying it to their day-to-day workflows, whether it was on-air marketing or graphics or promotional materials, and show us how AI could transform the way they were working. And honestly, what we've seen in that journey is just really impressive. A small example of that is, I think, playing behind us right now. But everything from stylized logos by seasonality, to new artwork
images and assets that are highlighting our franchises and new content releases, to entirely new ways of concepting and storyboarding as we're developing new content. And that goes all the way through the iteration of studio set design and production designs. With something like Firefly, you're able to much more quickly iterate on those design concepts and fail fast and succeed fast as well. And so, that was part of the journey data. It was the deployment to 2,000 creatives. The other thing I think that was really differentiated, it was a key partnership with you, was focused rollout plans, change management. It's the boring word. It's so important when it comes to AI right now. We had focused AI Adobe days across our core locations where we brought Adobe experts, product managers, experts who are driving the product roadmap, along with our functional experts who lived the workflow every single day. And we were able to focus on best practices, have communities come together and talk about new ways of working, and ultimately have a fast cycle of iteration into the Adobe product roadmap, which in this day and age, as the cycle of innovation is so fast, and the hype and FOMO of all the tools out there grows every single day, it was important to have on-the-ground reality with our functional experts.
Yeah, and this is really important, I think, for everyone to understand, is that this is not a situation in a world that's static enough for us to just drop some product off at your doorstep. We are working with all of our core enterprise customers with forward deployed engineers, integrated services. We are making sure that what we are working with you is as dynamic as the market is to deliver the outcomes you need to. And in the context of here, we've seen incredible impact at scale, but this is just the beginning. One of the things that you and the whole team at NBCU has been saying is that AI isn't just about multiplying what you can already do, but it has to open up new opportunities that simply weren't possible before AI. So where do you see those breakthroughs coming?
Yeah, as this whole room knows, I think the table stakes in marketing is more and more and more. You need more assets, you need more personalization, you need more customization. Those are all words that we're getting used to, but it's really difficult to achieve those at the scale of an enterprise like ours. And so one of the unlocks for us has been the custom model framework inside of Firefly. I think a good example of that was recently, Peacock has become the streaming home of the NBA with our partnership just launched last fall, and obviously is the exclusive streaming partner of the Olympics. And with each sporting event comes a new opportunity to drive new consumer experiences, new features, new ways of enticing the consumer. And yet, along with that, there's also a tax in some ways of new design elements and new creatives and new iconography and images and assets that go along with those features. And so that creates a crunch in some ways. When we launched the NBA, we launched a new feature called Courtside Live. And as we're heading to the Olympics, which was just a couple months later, the Peacock team came and said, how do we leverage everything we just built for the NBA and automate this and scale that for the Olympics? And so we decided, let's use the Firefly custom models. We loaded every single asset that was generated for the NBA. So this was hard work by the creators. They had their intent, the brand guidelines, the styles, the image intent from all the marketers and the product managers. And then we uploaded into Firefly custom models and automated the creation of all of that for the Olympics. So now everything you saw in features like Ringside Live associated with all of the Peacock front ends, these were elements that were created out of a foundation that didn't exist before, leveraging the general animation and image and video capabilities of Firefly, but grounded in the context of what our marketing and product teams wanted. That's just a really good example, David, of where creativity is not going away. It's being accelerated. It's being augmented by the ability to tap into what's already unique about a company like ours and our marketing prowess with the automation and scale capabilities of something like Firefly.
Yeah, and I think I'll just close by saying thank you for everything you guys have done in terms of the partnership. The best thing about this relationship and the relationship I know we have with many of you is as we go through this dynamic time, the combination of us and our customers is what's really driving the platform we're developing.
Yeah,
so thank you,
Ashish. Thank you, David.
All right, appreciate it. All right, so every one of your companies is clearly on this journey. Some of you are just getting started. Others of you are well on your way. But just know we're here to help with the technology we've been developing over decades, with the new capabilities, whether it's coworkers or agents or brand intelligence. And that foundation is how we're going to bring things to you. Now, as a reminder, we had two big announcements in this section. If you're interested in learning more, talk to your reps or talk to us about Adobe Brand Intelligence capabilities and the new Adobe Creative Agent, which is now available through Firefly Creative Production. So thank you all for your time. I'll now hand it back to Anil.
Thank you, David. Really exciting innovation powering GenStudio and Adobe CX Enterprise. And huge thank you to Ashish and the NBCU team for their partnership. Really impressive world-class content and customer experiences. You know, it's a terrific example of how we work closely with customers to align our business model with the success of your business goals. Now, Adobe's own marketing organization has been a trailblazer in digital marketing and customer experience for well over a decade, and an amazing design partner as we built Adobe CX Enterprise. And Xfinity has been a great design partner for us as we have developed Adobe Brand Intelligence. So I'm excited to welcome Adobe's Chief Marketing Officer, Laura Balazs, and Xfinity Chief Growth Officer, John Giselman, to the stage for a discussion on strategic priorities for Chief Marketing Officers in the era of agentic AI. Welcome, Laura.
We don't take enough time to imagine anymore. The fun kind of imagination. The kind that makes you go, whoa. What if your Wi-Fi could make your home office feel like mission control and put all of your streaming apps in one place, at your beck and call? And what if it could self-heal without you needing to play doctor? And what if that same Wi-Fi went mobile? You could be as capable as you are on your laptop anywhere you go. What if you could boost the power to your machine when you're gaming and it gave you an edge to one-up your friends? What if it came with touchdowns, slam dunks, and big goals? Yeah, all that at the same time. And what if it kept your home safe?
Oh, come on!
Like Wi-Fi motion detection, night watch equipped bunker lockdown safe. And not just your home, but your data too. Now imagine all of that in one simple place, working together in the smartest way possible. Xfinity. Imagine that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, welcome, John.
Thank
this
you.
is your first summit.
It is my first. Yeah,
All right.
it's great
well,
to be here. Thank
we're
you.
so thrilled you're here and so excited that Xfinity is a partner, such an important partner. And one thing I do want to do before we get started is talk a little bit about, for those who don't know Xfinity, tell us what Xfinity is.
Yeah, so, many in the audience might be familiar, but largely the country is split up between two providers, us and Charter. We pass a little close to 65 million homes in the country, and we provide customers connectivity in the form of Wi-Fi, mobile, entertainment, and home security. We're the other side of the company. We got nice representation here today. We represent, close to 80% of the EBITDA of the company, so it's a big part of the business.
Yeah, it is a big part, and I think it's in many of our homes, and we appreciate Xfinity. You have been in the role that you're in for about a year now. It is massive. It is a brand with incredible legacy. And, continuing, you want to, like so many of us do, we want to keep our current consumers, our current customers, but also bring in the next generation. Yeah. And, I know you probably had a vision coming in, what you saw the opportunity, and now you're approaching it, of course, and we'd love to just hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it's a company with incredible assets. We just saw that. It is a big business. It's a big subscription business. To your point, you got to both bring on new customers and keep the existing ones that you have. But in the last couple of years, I think the company kind of lost its way a little bit, and that's why I was brought in to figure out how to grow the business. A couple of problems that the company had sort of fell into. First, the company and the category in general is very promotional and price driven. And in my observation, we needed to become more of a product company and an experience company, so we've sort of started that journey. The second one is we tend to have very transactional relationships with our customers. And we've evolved the marketing and sales messaging to be much more emotional and storytelling in how we bring the differentiation of our products to life, leveraging some of the incredible IP that we have
Frankenstein
as a company. Yeah. And then lastly, and this is a big part of how we've worked together, which I really appreciate, is we're one of the OGs of the web,
yeah.
helping to create it and provide connectivity for the country. But we're a technology company that needs to morph into a tech company, and I view those as two very different things. So you're being instrumental in helping us in that part of the journey as well.
Well, and you've been a great partner. I have the great fortune of sitting over this incredible marketing organization that, we've been around for over 40 years, and you are needing to innovate and keep moving forward, while also keeping what kept the DNA of the company so rich in the first place. We're all navigating AI, all of us. It is happening at a seismic pace, and all of our customers, whether it's NFL, Marriott, the Coca-Cola Company, Dick's Sporting Goods, many customers here, many great partners, they are, there's this need to move fast, but you're still so thoughtful about that seamless customer experience, making sure that as much as possible, there's as least friction as possible. How are you thinking about this in this era as we move into AI?
Well, I think, as I put the CMO part of my responsibilities, that hat on, largely CMOs have been responsible for P&Ls and, obviously responsible for all of the communications and the creative that's pushed out. But I find that increasingly you have to be a technologist as well. And I think the point was made earlier in one of the presentations is that this isn't just going to come to you. As a CMO, you've got to drive the change, and you got to drive the culture change inside of the company, no matter where you are. But this isn't going to replace creativity. It just allows you to move faster and finally make that shift that we've just been talking about for a long time, of sort of that one-to-many messaging to one-to-one, not just in impressions orchestration across all marketing channels, but in the creative as well.
Absolutely. And I think there's often a tension when you've been in our craft as long as you and I have. We were talking about we shouldn't add up our years collectively, but where we came to this because we love the craft. We love connecting with people and the storytelling. And, there is and look, you've got this incredible IP. You have Jurassic Park, E.T., Wicked, these blockbuster sports franchises. It's truly phenomenal. And, in a world where you are creating so much content, my team is creating hundreds and hundreds of pieces of content, and I'm so thankful for our tools to automate, but still do that with high quality. There's still a tension, right? You want to be distinctive and you want to capture attention. How are you navigating that?
Well, when I first pitched the creative platform, imagine that to Brian and Mike. They immediately got the power of it, not just as a marketing campaign, but as a platform to develop our products, and also as a rallying cry for the company. But when you're leveraging IP like we have in our company, there's an incredible amount of trust that's granted to me and my organization to take care of that IP in such a way that's accretive to it. It's not exploiting it. So one of the things that I love about the brand intelligence platform is, I have weekly creative reviews, like probably most of you. If you don't, you should. I see the tip of the iceberg above the water.
Yeah.
And what kind of keeps me up at night is the stuff I don't see. And you have to build a great team and rely on the team to, push that work out in a way that's consistent with how you would want it. But, we all see things that, geez, I probably would have done that differently. And, now you can use technology to solve that problem. And, so hopefully I'll sleep a little bit easier. So, you as well, because it ensures that everything now can be consistent. And if you want to make changes, to like a headline, for instance, in the last presentation, I mean, it's just amazing that you can now change that across all channels instantaneously. It's done consistently.
Yeah.
You're no longer pointing out in those creative reviews, hey, the email team's saying it one way, the print team's saying it another, the digital team's saying another, and you're having to play traffic cop, making sure that it's all cared for and consistent.
Yeah, I know, one of the things that I've appreciated is we've always been very conscious about commercial IP. Our tools are using, content credentials. We have Firefly, the model that doesn't train on other people's data as a choice. And that gives a lot of solace to, I have creatives that have been with the company, for a long time because they used Photoshop, they love it, they got into it. And, when they see AI coming, they think, gosh, what does this mean for me? And increasingly they see how the hundreds of assets that you had to use, you resize and, so many myriads of platforms and touch points that they have to live on, they don't have to spend as much time doing. They don't have to spend time doing that. They can think about what's in their mind's eye, that creative process, and then bring it to life. I think, David was just showing Firefly boards, and now they can spend time on Firefly boards ideating and seeing what was in their head come to life and then riffing off of it, and then ensuring still that it can go out. When you think about Gen Studio and the new things we've announced at scale and still with that great quality. Is there anything, like, as you think about, because this all people are involved, and you and I were talking about the importance in all of this, that there's, human judgment and taste is something that is hard for a machine to come in and, express your brand. But as you have used brand intelligence, and thank you so much for being an early partner in this, it's just a great intelligence layer as we move out this high quality content at scale. Like, is there any learnings you'd want to tell teams, or something you've learned in the process that you would want to share as people are, going through this seismic change?
I mean, I guess I would say it's difficult for me to imagine that technology will replace creativity. I mean, creativity begins with a deep human insight, and then that's turned into creative insight wrapped in hopefully an emotional envelope that resonates with people. And I think what technology unlocks now is, to your point, the ability to then scale it.
Yeah.
But I think it's actually going to place more of a premium on creativity, because if it replaced it, that just means there would be one common denominator of creativity. And a big part of marketing and differentiating your product or service is the creative part of it. And I think it'll just free up time for the humans involved in the process to spend more time there, because you got to push it out the door as well, so you got to leave time for that. So sometimes it's pencils up on the idea, and you got to get it out. I think this will allow teams to spend more time on the core of the idea, and to me, that's what impactful marketing is.
Yeah, I still think capturing the human insight to write, to have that brief, even if it's pre-populated by AI, the human insight and nailing that is still so critical. And so I love that. One thing when we were talking backstage, as long as when we used to, you used to review every asset, and you feel like the bottleneck, right? So is there, what I think you said to me is like, now my teams are, hey, he's being a bottleneck. And so that's also been just a greasing the skids moment to move at speed, but still have content at scale. And then I think you were saying you're bringing the content price down as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's I think it was a bit to unpack there, but I don't think the objective here is to save costs. If I was having a conversation, with my CFO, I would position this as a growth opportunity, and to drive more productivity from your marketing activities in general. Sure, there's a cost efficiency voice to it. There is with so many different things. But I think of this as like a CMO's assistant. It's like that. Brand intelligence can be there when I can't be in the room. And it's not going to always get it right, but like I said, it'll help to prevent those moments where there's work going out the door that I haven't seen because I became a bottleneck, or just the sheer volume of it. It just doesn't scale. I mean, for a business like ours, there's no way I could review all the work with everything else that I've got to do. So you have to rely on the team. Now you rely on the team and the technology to tighten it all down.
Yeah. Question for you, last question. We could talk forever. There's many marketers here, and if you were to give advice on the 3 to 5 things that'll help a marketer be a leader in this next era, or things that might hold them back, what would you say? I'm asking you to be a bit of a soothsayer here.
My observation over doing this for a while is that I find most marketing to be beige. It's not very inspiring, and I think most marketers tend to play it safe. I would encourage the marketers in the room that sometimes a bit of controversy, and I tell all my creative teams, kind of walk up to what you think is the line and then take one step across it, and I'll pull them back if they've gone too far. But that's how you break through. And the other side of our company has always been creatively led. One of the things that I've been driving on our side, and for a long while it's been viewed as a utility. You wouldn't think of a utility as something that could be a creatively led company, but obviously we can too. There's such a premium placed on creativity to get your message across, and that's how you break through. That's how you connect with people. And the amazing thing about these tools is now you can focus your time and energy on that rather than the mundane production side of it.
Awesome. Well, we're so happy to be a partner with you, and incredibly inspired what you're bringing. You're using the power of AI, but doing it with intentionality. And we look forward to continuing to work together and all the impact we'll have.
Thank you very much. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Lara and John. Really terrific conversation. Appreciate it. And Xfinity has done some really incredible work when it comes to brand content. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground this afternoon, all focused on enabling you to become an agentic enterprise. We talked about customer experience orchestration in the era of AI. So across these 3 use cases, brand visibility, customer engagement, and content supply chain, in tomorrow's keynote, we'll go deeper in each of these areas. And we'll be joined by more industry leaders who will share their perspectives, including Shailesh Jejurikar, the President and CEO of Procter & Gamble, Emily Silver and Vlad Rack, the CMO and CTO of Dick's Sporting Goods, respectively. And we're excited to show you a lot of innovation and technology in action along the way. So as we wrap, a reminder that our first strategy keynote takes place later today. It'll go deeper on the critical role of agentic AI, so not to be missed. And with that, I wish you a great remainder of the day and look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. Thank you.